Gaming in 2025 has blurred the lines more than ever because back in the days, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, and PC had its own style of first party exclusives that easily define what you liked in your video games. For example, if you like playing games while you're shooting people in the face while discovering your hidden racism, you know this is an Xbox. On the other hand, if you like holding a controller a little longer while being told an unforgettable story, then greatness awaited you. Nowadays, all of these system-defining games are either scattered to other platforms, PC, or have been successfully mimicked on rival platforms. This is why it can be hard to define the personality or the type of gamer that is attached to the current platforms of this generation without biased fanboys calling them out their name. Therefore, these series of videos will be dedicated to an objective analysis of the type of gamer who prefers certain platforms and why, starting with PlayStation. My credibility, very simple. I've been a well-informed gamer my entire life, interacting and owning every console since the 2000s and appreciated every platform and what they continue to bring to the table. By executing this series, I hope to give a viewer a genuine perspective of someone who is dedicated to a certain platform, allowing you to be more unbiasedly informed. Valley B Gaming, aka the Dark Souls of YouTube, because we're restoring humanity back to gaming. Like and subscribe if you're digging the content. Here we go. 3 ways to define a PS5 gamer or a PlayStation-centric gamer. The first thing you should know is that the PlayStation gamer takes pride in the lineage of PlayStation. Why? Because it is the only gaming platform that truly matured with them. Key Sony mascots can be easily represented through the phase of a gamer's life. For me, that's Crash, the Cloud, Kratos, Nate Drake, could say Joel, Jin Sakai, right? But what about Nintendo? Easy answer, they stick to kids. Right? They're being carried by Mario and Zelda to this day. As for Microsoft, they joined the console fray a bit later with a mature-rated Halo shooter. Sega was on their way, but you know. RIP Sega. This leaves PlayStation as the one console that truly grew with their audience, which leads to Sony netting a great deal of deep-rooted loyalty and fandom. My memory of Tekken 3, Tekken Tag, and Street Fighter games make me only want to play fighting games on PlayStation. Therefore, if you choose to be a PlayStation gamer, each of their exclusive games, new or old, will bolster your pride that this is the only console on the market that can give you these unique narrative experiences, which we'll talk more about shortly. Speaking of older games, if you want to go down the rabbit hole of PlayStation greatness, you can subscribe to their PS Plus Platinum service and have a ball. Let's say you want to be a part of the zeitgeist and be well informed and have a podcast. I recommend one called Sacred Symbols, further proving my point on how much pride they have in their console of choice. Moving on to number 2, the PlayStation gamer likely enjoys depth and obscurity in their games. When I think of PlayStation exclusive, there is no doubt that Sony aligns with studios that consider themselves artists, with games being its canvas. Then the devs pick up their paintbrush and dip them in the paint variations of music, visuals, gameplay, and story to accomplish their work of art. I think about games like God of War, Horizon, Last of Us, Journey. Again, there are too many examples to name here. Shows that Sony's approach to blockbuster titles and how it locks players into the Sony ecosystem. It is rare to have someone who enjoys their PS5 or older gen PlayStation consoles that has no interest in playing a first-party title. I do plan on addressing the elephant in the room being Concord a little later, but use my timestamp if you can't wait any longer. The caveat of the true depth and obscurity does not only come from the first-party games, but also the second-party exclusives, as well as the Japanese import games mainly hitting the PlayStation console. The biggest game in the point I'm making is the Final Fantasy Remake series, including Rebirth. As we speak, this is still a console exclusive, and it may stay that way for a long time. This is one of, if not the greatest remake ever created, blending the new and old school gaming mechanics in the best ways possible. It's an amazing narrative that brings more depth and emotion to a series that has set the standard for that 30 years ago. It's almost like they reinvented the wheel with the same game 30 years later, which is pretty cool. Another notable import to Sony is the exclusive Stellar Blade. That was a commercial success with great visuals, mainly the character designs, your words, not mine, snappy and fluid combat comparable to Devil May Cry and Bayonetta, not to mention the Dark Souls-like exploration. Speaking of Dark Souls, you got the Neo series that is critically acclaimed for its challenge and great gameplay. There are countless other imports that are tied to PlayStation. I will say that a few years ago, Sony was at the peak level of exclusive imports when they had a chokehold on the Persona and the Yakuza series. Nonetheless, this is still the home of Japanese imports and, dare I say, RPG, with Switch being a close second, of course. Gamers rely on PlayStation for their depth and obscure games from their first party and imports. Before I continue objectively glazing Sony for educational purposes, I must address the biggest failure in gaming, known as Concord. Sony bought the makers of Concord thinking it would be a hit. Unfortunately, the only hit was an alleged $400 million deficit to Sony's budget, as gamers flat out rejected Concord for countless reasons. Personally, I think it lacked depth, which is what Sony's beloved first-party games are known for. However, despite Concord's massive failure, Sony plans to experiment with live service games to try and carve out a slice of bottomless income, also known as Fortnite money. Many PlayStation enthusiasts may not be happy with the pursuit of live service games, as it take away from Sony's attention to their bread and butter first-party games. So the last thing to know about PlayStation gamers is that they are likely a console traditionalist. So here's another elephant in the room, right? The fact is, many PlayStation games are quickly moving over to PC. Currently, the biggest PS5 first-party titles are already there, and by the time this video comes out, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will had already made its way over to PC. However, executives from Sony believe that PC gamers do not overlap with PlayStation gamers. I think they're right. PlayStation is considered one of the longest tenured consoles, meaning people who are dedicated to its consoles are dedicated to the simplicity of the console. Nothing beats plopping down on a comfy couch, pressing on the one button for your controller, and then instantly being brought to a UI with all the games you already brought ready to be played in seconds. Any experience other than that does not meet the expectations of a console gamer. This is not a PC suck video. By the way, I will have a PC version of this series coming out soon. Be on the lookout. This is a PC is not a console video, and PlayStation is. There you have it. A look in the mind behind a PlayStation gamer. They revere the past, love the current style of games, and want to keep it that way. Overall, PlayStation is a must when it comes to consoles. You cannot go wrong with the games it brings exclusively to the table. Let me know what you think on my analysis in the comments below. Next Tuesday, we're going to analyze Xbox in the same way. So please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell thingy, and see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.